All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into the world of X365.ai.
Oh, yeah.
We got their 12-page white paper
Right.
and a whole bunch of images to sift through. So get ready.
Lots to unpack.
This company is making some really big, and I mean big, claims about the future of finance, AI, blockchain,
Shebang.
gaming. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to figure out what exactly are they actually building?
Right.
How are they planning to do it? And is there anything about their approach that's actually unique?
Okay. Well, one thing that jumps out right away
Yeah.
is their vision. I mean, they're not holding anything back.
Yeah, swinging for the fences.
They want to be the fastest, largest, most community-driven AI ecosystem on the planet.
Wow.
And they want to completely revolutionize how we even think about gaming, finance, and decentralized exchange.
Yeah, no small goals there.
Indeed.
And they're aiming to create a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem across more than 130 countries.
Ambitious, for sure.
Ambitious is putting it mildly.
Totally.
But the thing that really has me scratching my head is this X365 coin they're pushing
Okay.
as the world's first real-world asset coin, or RWA.
Interesting.
What does that even mean in the world of crypto?
Yeah. That is the key question, isn't it?
It is.
It seems like they're trying to find a way to actually connect the digital world of crypto with real, tangible assets, which would be pretty groundbreaking if they could pull it off.
It would.
But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's start with their technical foundation.
Okay.
They're building everything on top of a custom Layer 2 blockchain that's been designed specifically for gaming and casinos.
Okay, now that's an interesting choice.
Yeah?
Why build a whole new blockchain when there are already so many out there? What's the advantage of going their own way?
Well, it boils down to speed and efficiency.
Okay.
They're claiming over 50,000 transactions per second with latency under a millisecond.
Really? Those are some impressive numbers.
To put that into perspective,
Yeah.
imagine you're playing a high-stakes poker game online. With this kind of speed, your bets are placed, cards are dealt, winnings paid out. It all happens almost instantly.
Wow.
No lag, no waiting around. It's a totally different experience.
That is a huge difference compared to some of the, more well-known blockchains that are out there.
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like they've really given some serious thought to the needs of gamers and traders.
Yeah.
But what about security?
Right.
Because that's always a big, concern in the crypto world.
Absolutely. And it seems like they're taking security very seriously.
Okay.
They're using what's called post-quantum cryptography,
Post-quantum cryptography.
which is basically like building a vault that can withstand any kind of hacking attempt,
wow.
even from the supercomputers of the future.
On the future.
And then they're also using decentralized validation, meaning there's no single point of failure, making the whole system way more resistant to attacks.
So they've got speed, they've got security covered. What about growth? Can this blockchain actually handle it if they manage to pull in millions of users?
Well, that's where Web3 integration dynamic sharding come in.
Okay.
Imagine it this way. As a
Okay.
network grows,
Uh-huh.
it can automatically divide itself into smaller, more manageable pieces.
I see.
It's kind of like adding extra lanes to a highway during rush hour.
Interesting.
So the blockchain can scale smoothly without sacrificing speed or performance.
So we've got this super highway of a blockchain as our foundation, but the thing that's supposed to really set them apart is the AI. So how does that all fit into this picture?
Right. Well, this is where things start to get really interesting.
Okay.
They're using a technique called federated learning with differential privacy
Okay.
to train their AI models.
Now, that sounds pretty complicated.
It is a little technical, but basically what it allows them to do is to tap into huge amounts of data from all sorts of different places without compromising anyone's privacy.
I see.
So imagine, you're training an AI on the combined knowledge of thousands of financial experts, but without ever actually seeing any of their individual data.
That's pretty impressive.
It is powerful.
So what exactly are they using this AI for? What kind of results are they seeing?
Well, they're claiming some pretty impressive results, especially when it comes to market forecasting.
Okay.
They say their deep learning algorithms are hitting 98.8% accuracy in predicting market movements.
98.8%? That's almost like having a crystal ball.
It does sound a little too good to be true, and we should definitely look into that in more detail.
Well, that too.
But it gives you an idea of the potential here.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
They're also talking about something called quantum-inspired optimization.
Yeah.
Essentially a way of using algorithms that are inspired by the principles of quantum mechanics to solve really complex problems way faster than traditional methods.
So quantum-inspired.
Yeah, think of it like this.
Okay.
It's like going from, a horse and buggy to a spaceship
Wow.
in terms of computational speed.
So what are they using this super fast quantum-inspired AI for? What are some real-world examples?
Well, imagine an AI that can analyze millions of data points in real time
Okay.
to help you optimize your investment portfolio, or an AI that can actually identify the absolute best Forex trades.
Really?
Yeah, based on these really complex market patterns.
That's wild.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about the potential.
It is. So we've got the blockchain, we've got the AI. Now let's talk about how it all actually comes together in their ecosystem.
Right.
They've got all these different projects all connected by this X365 coin. It's like they're building a whole digital city with different districts, each with its own unique purpose.
Exactly. It's all interconnected. And one of the districts that really stands out is X365.gg, their gaming and casino platform.
Okay, so this is where the fun begins.
Right.
But what's so special about their gaming platform? What sets it apart from, all the other online casinos out there?
Well, for one thing, they're using something called Zekai Snarks,
Z-Snark.
which is a fancy way of saying they can prove that a game is fair without revealing any of the details of the game itself.
So, like magic, but with math.
Exactly. It's like showing someone you've got a royal flush in poker without actually showing them your cards.
Cool.
It really boosts privacy and security for the players.
I see.
And that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, but they're also using AI in their gaming platform.
They are.
What are they doing with that?
Well, they're using it to analyze player behavior and optimize the whole gaming experience.
So like a personalized gaming experience.
Exactly. Imagine an AI that can actually, tailor the difficulty of a game or even suggest new strategies based on your playing style.
That's awesome.
It could make things a lot more engaging for players.
Okay, so they've got this high-tech gaming platform, but what about X365.ai itself? What role does their central platform play in all of this?
Right, so think of it as the control center for the entire ecosystem.
Okay.
It's the hub that connects all the different projects and keeps everything running smoothly.
Makes sense.
And they've built this custom AI orchestration layer using graph neural networks, which is a fancy way of saying they've created a system where all these different AIs can talk to each other and work together efficiently.
So like a conductor leading a symphony of AI.
Exactly, a symphony of algorithms.
I like that.
And get this, they're claiming it can handle, get ready for this, 1 million requests at the same time.
1 million simultaneously.
That's like having everyone in a small city trying to use the platform at the same time, and it doesn't even break a sweat.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, they're definitely focused on scalability and responsiveness, building for mass adoption from day one.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, they also have these things called AI agents.
AI agents, okay, I haven't heard that term before. What are they?
So think of them like your own personal AI assistants.
Okay.
They can help you with all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
From optimizing your gaming strategies to actually executing trades on the Forex market.
Really?
They're powered by a combo of long, short-term memory networks and reinforcement learning, which basically means they can learn from past experiences and adapt to new situations.
So they're like little financial geniuses in your pocket, constantly working to make you more money.
Yeah, the white paper actually claims that users can potentially increase their gains by up to 30% by using these AI agents.
30%.
Now, of course, we'll have to look into those claims
We will.
and see how they hold up in reality.
Of course, we'll have to do our due diligence, but 30% gains, now you're speaking my language.
Right.
This is starting to sound less like a tech project and more like a money-making machine.
Yeah.
What else do they have? What else is in their bag of tricks?
Let's move on to their Forex trading platform called FX365.pro.
Okay.
It's a decentralized platform that uses AI insights to give traders an edge.
Okay.
And get this, they're claiming 98% accuracy in their market predictions using something called gradient-boosted decision trees.
Hold on. 98%, that's astronomically high.
Yeah.
How does that compare to traditional Forex trading tools?
So traditional tools usually rely on technical analysis and historical data, which can be pretty accurate, but they still have their limits.
Right.
The AI in FX365.pro allows for a much deeper level of analysis, identifying patterns and trends that humans would probably just completely miss.
So potentially less risk and higher returns.
Exactly. It's a totally new approach to Forex trading.
This is really interesting.
It is.
Okay, but there's more, right?
Oh, there's more.
Tell me more.
They also have X365,
X365.
which is their high-street decentralized exchange.
Okay.
But the thing that really sets it apart is this blockchain launch scanner they've developed.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me about this scanner. What makes it so special?
Well, first of all, it's incredibly fast.
Okay.
They say it can analyze new blockchain launches in under 50 milliseconds.
That's crazy fast.
Mind-bogglingly fast. And second, they're using AI to optimize the liquidity pools on the exchange,
Okay.
making it way easier and more efficient to trade different tokens.
Nice.
And then on top of that, they've got real-time monitoring of over 500 blockchains to find potential risks and opportunities.
So they're basically using AI to keep their finger on the pulse of the entire crypto market.
Exactly.
But why is the speed of this launch scanner so important? What advantage does it give?
Well, in the world of crypto, being early to a good project
Right.
can mean the difference between making a fortune and missing out completely.
I hear that.
With the X365 launch scanner, you can get insights into new projects before anyone else, giving you a serious edge.
That is a serious edge.
Right?
Yeah, but it sounds like they've also given some thought to security here as well.
They have.
So what are they doing to protect users from, scams and all the shady projects out there?
Well, they've got this AI-powered anomaly detection system that can spot potential pump and dump schemes with 95% accuracy.
It's like a lie detector for the crypto market.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It really is.
It sounds like they're really trying to make their exchange a safe and transparent place for trading. But how does the X365 coin fit into all of this? They're calling it the first real-world asset coin. What does that even mean?
That's the billion-dollar question.
It is.
And it's something we need to explore in more detail.
I do.
Basically, they're claiming that the value of the X365 coin is directly tied to how well their entire ecosystem performs.
So it's not just a speculative token.
Yeah.
It's a piece of the action.
A piece of the action.
So the more successful their platforms become, the more valuable the X365 coin becomes.
That's the idea.
Okay, I get it.
It's a fascinating concept,
It is.
and one that could completely change the future of crypto.
Yeah.
But we'll dive into all the details of their coin and its potential impact in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're back for part 2 of our deep dive into X365.ai.
Back for more.
We've seen some pretty impressive tech, some really ambitious goals.
Lively ambitious.
But now it's time to, put on our skeptical hats and ask some of the tough questions. What could possibly go wrong here?
Well, that's the right approach, for sure.
Right.
I mean, every innovation comes with its own set of risks, and this is no different.
Right.
I think one thing that really jumps out is just the sheer complexity of what they're trying to do.
That's a lot.
Combining AI, blockchain, gaming, finance. I mean, that's a lot of moving parts.
It is.
And the more complex the system, the more potential points of failure you've got.
It's like building a house of cards on a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly.
One wrong move, and the whole thing comes crashing down.
And then there's the whole regulatory landscape to think about.
Oh, right.
The crypto world is still, for the most part, unregulated, and governments around the world are still trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Right. They're playing catch up.
Yeah, exactly. And new regulations could pop up at any time. They could really throw a wrench into X365.ai's plans, or even slow down innovation across the entire industry.
That's a good point. It's like navigating a maze that's constantly changing. Yeah, but even if they manage to avoid all the regulatory hurdles,
Yeah.
they're still facing some really intense competition.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the crypto and AI spaces are packed with new players popping up all the time.
All the time.
So how do they stand out from the crowd? How do they get that huge user base they're aiming for?
They have to prove that what they're building isn't just hype,
Right.
that it actually delivers real, tangible benefits.
Right.
They need to build trust with users and investors, especially in such a volatile market like crypto.
Yeah, crypto is a wild ride. It's like surfing a tsunami. You can ride that wave to incredible heights or get wiped out completely.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
But that volatility does create opportunities too.
It does.
If X365.ai can ride that wave of mainstream adoption,
Yeah.
early investors could be in for a huge payday.
No doubt about it.
And, beyond the financial gains, there's also the potential for real social impact.
Oh, right.
They're talking about creating a community-owned economy where wealth is distributed more fairly.
Yeah, that's a pretty radical concept.
It is.
Kind of like taking power back from the big banks and putting it in the hands of everyday people.
Exactly.
But is that even possible?
It's a good question.
Can a decentralized ecosystem really compete with the giants of the traditional financial system?
It's a David versus Goliath battle, for sure.
It is.
But history has shown us that these disruptive technologies can really topple even the most entrenched players.
Well, look at the internet.
Exactly.
It completely changed how we communicate, how we do business, how we share information.
Yeah, a few decades ago, nobody thought a decentralized network could actually challenge traditional media.
It's like the printing press all over again,
It is.
giving power back to the individual.
Exactly.
So is X365.ai betting that blockchain and AI will be the next internet,
I think in a way, yes.
the next printing press?
They're betting that these technologies will come together and create a more accessible and fair financial system.
Right.
And they're not alone. There's a growing movement of companies exploring that intersection of AI and blockchain. It's a space that's ripe for innovation.
So let's just imagine for a second that X365.ai achieves all their goals.
Right.
What would that actually mean for the average person? How would their lives be different?
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits would be greater financial inclusion.
Okay.
Giving access to people who've been shut out of traditional finance.
Right.
Imagine people in developing countries who don't have bank accounts or credit cards.
Right.
Suddenly, they've got the tools to participate in the global economy.
That's incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
It opens up a whole world of possibilities
It does.
for people who've been left behind.
But what about the overall impact on the financial system itself? Would it be more transparent, more accountable?
Absolutely. With blockchain, every transaction is permanently recorded on a public ledger.
So no more hiding shady dealings.
No more smoke and mirrors.
No more backroom deals.
It's a complete game changer.
But what about on a personal level? How would AI actually benefit us, the users?
Think personalized financial services.
Okay.
Imagine an AI agent that helps you create a budget that actually works.
Right.
Or one that negotiates better deals on your behalf.
It's like having a personal finance guru in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Always looking out for you.
But with all this talk about AI managing our money,
Yeah.
some people might get a little uncomfortable.
Right.
What about control?
Yeah.
What about privacy?
Those are very valid concerns.
Yeah.
We have to remember that any technology can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
So it's crucial that X365.ai makes user control and data privacy top priorities.
We don't want to trade one set of problems for another.
No, we don't.
But even with the best intentions,
Yeah.
there are always potential risks with any new tech.
Right.
What else should we be wary of?
Well, one concern is the potential for AI bias.
AI bias, right?
If the algorithms are trained on biased data, they could end up reinforcing existing inequalities.
Right? It's like building a self-driving car that only recognizes certain types of roads.
Exactly. You're going to end up with blind spots.
So X365.ai needs to be really careful about the data they're using.
Absolutely.
Make sure it's diverse and representative and free from harmful biases.
Sure.
But even with unbiased data,
Yeah.
we still have the issue of security.
Right.
How do we know that our money and our data are really safe on a blockchain platform?
Yeah, security is paramount. And while blockchain is inherently secure, it's not foolproof.
Right.
We've seen hacks and exploits happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So X365.ai needs to put really robust security measures in place and keep their systems updated.
It's like a digital arms race.
It is.
You have to constantly be one step ahead.
Right.
And speaking of threats,
Yeah.
what about the threat of government overreach? Could regulators try to shut down innovation in the crypto space?
Oh, absolutely. That's a real concern.
Yeah.
Governments might try to impose regulations that make it really hard for projects like X365.ai to function, or even outright ban certain types of cryptocurrency.
It's a tough balance.
It is.
We need some regulation to protect consumers, to
Right.
prevent fraud,
Yeah.
but we also need to allow for innovation.
Absolutely. It's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
Too much regulation, you stifle progress. Too little, and you invite chaos.
Yeah, but ultimately, the success of X365.ai is going to depend on their ability to navigate all these challenges and build a system that's not just technologically amazing,
Yeah.
but also ethically sound and sustainable.
Exactly. And That brings us back to the human element.
The human element.
I mean, X365.ai's success really depends on their ability to build a strong and engaged community.
They need people who believe in the vision.
They do.
People who want to be a part of this ecosystem.
Exactly, and that's where their community-driven approach comes in.
Right.
By distributing wealth, empowering users, and giving them a voice in the direction of the project, they're hoping to create that sense of shared ownership,
I see.
a sense of responsibility.
It's a bold strategy.
It is.
But it could be the key to their long-term success.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because a community that feels invested
Yeah.
is going to be more likely to stick around.
Yeah, through the ups and the downs.
Exactly.
So can they pull this off?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
I mean, can they overcome all these challenges, navigate all these risks, and actually create a community-owned economy?
Well, only time will tell.
Right.
But one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
X365.ai is a project that's really pushing the boundaries,
It is.
asking those big questions about the future of finance.
They are.
And whether they succeed or fail, I think their efforts are going to shape the landscape of these industries for years to come.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, before we jump into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to bring you, the listener, back into the conversation.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
So what do you think? Weighing all the potential benefits and all the risks, what stands out to you most about X365.ai?
What sparks your curiosity or what raises some concerns? Hold on to those thoughts because in part 3, we're going to tackle one of the most intriguing and potentially transformative aspects of X365.ai,
Okay.
their concept of a real-world asset coin.
We're back, and it's time for the final part of our deep dive into X365.ai.
The grand finale.
And we've saved the most, I think, interesting piece for last.
I think so too.
Their X365 coin, which they claim is the world's first real-world asset coin, an RWA coin.
Big claims.
So we've heard this term thrown around quite a bit,
Yeah.
RWA coin, but what does it actually mean?
Well, it's
What
not-
makes it different from all the other crypto out there?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think it really gets to the heart of one of the biggest debates in the whole crypto space.
Right.
You know, traditional cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Right.
Your value mainly comes from speculation and market demand.
Yeah.
Right. People buy them hoping the price will go up.
Exactly, like digital gold.
Yeah.
People are betting on its future value.
Exactly.
But with a real-world asset coin, the value is actually tied to something tangible in the real world.
Okay.
You know, a real asset or a stream of revenue.
So it's like owning a digital share of something concrete,
Exactly.
like real estate or a company's profit.
Exactly. And
Okay.
in the case of X365.ai, their coin's value is linked to the success of their entire ecosystem.
Right. All those platforms we talked about.
All of them. The gaming platform, the Forex trading platform, the decentralized exchange, they all generate revenue.
And a portion of that revenue is shared with the people who hold the X365 coin.
That's right.
So as the ecosystem grows and these platforms become more successful,
Yeah.
the value of the X365 coin should, in theory, increase as well.
Exactly. That's the idea.
Okay, that makes sense. But haven't we heard this before?
Uh-huh.
I mean, plenty of crypto projects promise that their token will go up in value as their platform grows.
That's true. But X365.ai has really designed their system from the ground up to be a real-world asset coin.
Okay.
It's not just a marketing tactic, it's built into how everything works.
So it's not just a promise, it's actually like fundamental to their system.
Exactly, and they have these specific mechanisms in place to make sure that the coin's value is connected to real-world performance,
Like what?
like their revenue sharing model,
Okay.
where 50% of the profits from all their projects are actually given back to coin holders who stake their coins.
Hold on. So by just holding X365 coins and staking them,
Yeah.
I could earn passive income based on how well their whole ecosystem is doing.
That's the idea.
Wow.
They've also got this unique associate program, which encourages people to spread the word and bring new users into the ecosystem.
So kind of like network marketing, but for crypto.
You could say that,
Yeah.
but instead of selling products, you're promoting this decentralized ecosystem. So the more people use the platform, generate revenue, the more valuable the X365 coin becomes, and the more rewards are shared with the whole community.
Okay, so it's a win-win for the company and the users.
Right.
It's a really interesting model, but let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
What are the implications of an RWA coin like X365? Could it really change the game for the entire crypto industry?
I think it definitely has the potential.
Okay.
You know, one of the biggest criticisms of crypto is that it's too speculative, too disconnected from the real world.
Right. A lot of people still see it as just a gambler's paradise.
Exactly, like a digital casino.
Fortunes made and lost overnight.
Yeah, but an RWA coin could actually bridge that gap.
Okay.
It could bring legitimacy and stability to the crypto world.
And potentially bring in a whole new wave of investors.
Right, people who have been on the fence about crypto.
Yeah, who have been hesitant.
Exactly.
This could bring them in.
And it could open up a lot of opportunities for businesses, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, imagine being able to tokenize real-world assets like real estate
Okay.
or intellectual property,
Right.
and then raise capital through a decentralized platform.
That could really revolutionize how businesses get funding.
It could.
Okay, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
There have to be some risks here.
Of course, there are always risks.
Yeah.
I think one concern is that the coin's value is still ultimately tied to the success of the underlying platform.
Right.
If X365.ai can't deliver on their promises or their platforms don't get any traction, the coin could lose value.
So even with a real-world asset backing, it's not a guaranteed win.
Right. There's always a level of risk.
And then there's the whole regulatory uncertainty hanging over everything.
Oh, absolutely. Governments are still figuring out how to regulate crypto.
They are.
And new rules could come out that impact RWAs.
It's a bit of a wild west out there.
It is.
But even with the risks, it seems like RWA coins could be a huge disruptor
They could.
in the financial world.
Yeah.
They could make investing more accessible. Right.
Give individuals more control over their finances
Yeah.
and potentially lead to a more transparent and equitable system.
Absolutely.
And X365.ai is really leading the charge here.
They are. They're taking a big leap
A big swing.
into uncharted territory.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you, the listeners, with this thought.
Okay.
What if X365.ai actually pulls this off?
Yeah.
What if they create this thriving, community-owned economy
Right.
powered by a real-world asset coin? What would that mean for you?
For your community.
For the world?
Big questions.
Big questions is
Yeah.
something to think about.
It is, and it's something we'll definitely revisit as the story of X365.ai unfolds.
Absolutely.
That's it for this deep dive into X365.ai.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, maybe even a little bit inspiring.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Do your own research, stay informed, and engage with the community as we all navigate this exciting new frontier.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off.